So, good morning, everybody. Once again, a very good morning to all the joinees who've joined us here. Good morning to our resource person, to Reena ma'am, to all the program leads and all our students. It's my absolute pleasure to welcome you all to this next session of the UpNext series, which is on Beyond Silos, Crafting Cohesive Winning Teams. All right. So, with the title, one thing that comes to mind is what are these silos? Right? So silos are any kind of barriers to communications. And in organizational setup, when we refer to silos to the separation or the location of departments within teams or individuals that lead to lack of communication or collaboration or even shared goals. Just like actual farm silos that store grain separately, organizational silos store information, processes, or expertise in isolation, preventing free flow of ideas and cooperation. And in an era where speed, agility, and collaboration define success, the traditional silos within organizations, they are proving to be more of a barrier than a benefit. So this session is an invitation to reimagine how we work together as a team, not just across departments, but also across mindsets. So we are honored to have with us our exceptional speaker for today, Mr. Vinay Agarwal, who is a man of letters himself. So Mr. Vinay Agarwal, I would just take a moment to introduce him to all of us. So Mr. Vinay Agarwal is currently working as the global head business HR at Tech Mahindra for its IT business, employing more than 75,000 IT associates across 60 plus countries. He's also the chairperson of its largest location, Hyderabad, employing 25,000 associates. He has performed different leadership roles in various organizations. Before Tech Mahindra, he was the head of Operations Excellence for IT Global Capability Center of Bank of America. Prior to that, he drove IT process transformation programs for many global enterprises. Before moving to IT industry, where he has worked for more than 2 decades, he had stints in the manufacturing organizations. He is executive committee member of the Hyderabad Software Enterprise Association and Hyderabad chapter of NHRD network. By training, he's a chemical engineer from IIT Kanpur and an MBA. So I welcome you all, sir. Welcome you, sir, for the webinar today. Without further ado, let's dive into the heart of today's discussion.
Sure. Thank you very much. Yeah, we can start. Yeah.
So what do you think about, what is your perception of how important this topic is for an upcoming MBA student or the working professionals?
Yeah. So let me start with a story. So all of us remember 9/11. So that's a day which the world has not forgotten, right? So 9/11, 2001, there was an attack on World Trade Towers. It's about 3,000 people died. And that was a watershed moment for US by default for the entire world. But it took America to nail down Osama bin Laden about a decade. And there is a huge learning. The US, the commando team, which was given the task of hunting him down, they realized that their team structure was so decentralized and so resilient uh, that the own style of the US Army was not effective. So the team which did this task of hunting him down took a decade. This knowledge has been documented in a form of a book called Team of Teams. So I would basically strongly recommend that anybody interested take a look at that, and that really a very profound book which talks about how the world order has changed uh, and how we need to basically restructure ourselves and how do you form effective team. Generally, while forming teams or designing organizations, efficiency is usually the key driver behind when people design the structure, etc. However, I think more than efficiency, the whole, I would say, collaboration and innovation has become even more important, right? And especially, I would say this AI, it is hardly 3 years old. I think we first time heard about in public heard about AI, that to the open AI 2022. It's hardly 3 years. And we've seen that there is a huge disruption to the world, and people are saying very clearly that this is we are living in a times of Renaissance, right? So in the history, what happened Renaissance, that the whole industrial revolution, all the inventions, the science made the biggest um, progress during those times. So the AI is going to redefine everything uh, for good. So you're not saying basically that's a separate debate, that's lose job, etc. I don't think there'll be reduction of jobs, but yes, every work, how each organization function will fundamentally shift. So the point is that in such fast changing world, do we take note of that and look at how we are structured, how we work, or we continue to stick with how we have been working so far? The answer is clear cut no. We have to recognize this change and see how do we change our structure, how do we change our ways of working. So I would say in that backdrop, it is very, very clear that we need to basically structure differently and look at our ways of working. So I think let's start at this note, Shikha ma'am, your questions, and I'll try to basically answer questions and try to have as many stories, anecdotes from the real life, from the corporate life of a little more than 3 decade experience I had in different organizations to make it interesting. I'll try my best to do that. Over
So
to
we
you.
are pretty sure that your rich experience and the diverse domains that you've worked in will definitely give us a good insight into the topic today. So my first question, if you allow me for that,
Yeah.
sir, in contemporary times, if we talk about what are the common barriers that create silos in organization, and for people who are in leadership roles, how can they proactively break them down?
Yeah. So see, the point is the functional silo. So org structure, so called. So while org structure is created to basically have it's to have concentration of expertise or functions. And so we say this is our resource management function, this is our talent acquisition functions, this is delivery function. So usually every organization would have functional structure of the organization, which is fine. However, I think the next level collaboration is to be enabled by the each functional leader or within that. Naturally, it doesn't happen, right? So if leaders don't make a conscious effort, those functional teams seem to basically ignore the collaboration among themselves, and that is how those silos get created. And so unless any external push is provided by each leader, there's a natural tendency uh, to restrain each team within their functional silos. So to prevent that, I think basically one thing is very important, that there have to be clear-cut shared goals, and that shared goal starts from the organizational goal. Uh, I'll take example of the Tech Mahindra itself. So we said that the last year, FY24, was a year where we hit the rock bottom in terms of profitability. And we realized that basically we need to do something fundamentally different to be on the path of meeting the operating margin targets as shareholders would expect. So our CEO, he shared to all shareholders saying that we will take 3 years time to turn the company around. And So he said, I have three plans. One plan is to increase the revenue. Other plan is to increase the operating margin. Third plan is to basically organization culture change. So it was recognized that there is a clear purpose which everybody has to embrace. So each one, so from HR perspective, from delivery perspective, everybody has to say that how do I contribute to the organizational goal we call Vision FY27. So by FY27, the goals set are that we will have the rate of growth better than peers. And in terms of profitability, we said we will achieve the EBIT of 15%. So these goals are so clearly set. So now everybody knows that I have to see how do I contribute to the organizational goal. And that organizational goal, depending on the charter of each function, each team, they drive saying this should be our team's goal, so that we contribute towards the overall organization goal by FY27. So shared goal is extremely important. In a cohesive team, it is very important that there are interpersonal bondings, right? So people basically feel that belongingness, saying that okay, we are one team. We're going to work together to achieve a goal. Shared goal is extremely important, and the trust is very important. So I would say two most important thing for a cohesive team is one, having shared goal, second, having mutual trust.
Right, sir.
Yeah,
This is the building block of any kind of teams that
yeah,
work
yeah,
collaborating and that goes ahead. All right, so you just mentioned cohesive team. So in workplaces, what does this term cohesive actually convey? And
yeah.
any point in your entire career where you felt that breaking down silos actually led to improvement in the team's performance?
Yeah. So here, let me give example of the CII bank, right? Sorry, ICICI Bank. So when Chandra Kochar, when she stepped down from the CEO position, this was a very difficult moment because there was some anomalies at the backdrop of that. So there was a hit in the reputation of the bank, and so somebody who joined the ICICI Bank as a management trainee and has spent the whole career with ICICI Bank at that time, that person was Sandeep, the name of the guy. He was picked up as CEO, right? And he did few
Sorry for
remarkable.
interrupting you in between. Just a second. There is a message in chat box from the students that we are not audible. Is that for everybody?
Hear carefully. I think the students, if you are having any problem and not able to hear, please check your internet. Maybe log out and log in again.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for confirming.
Yeah.
Sorry, sir, for the interruption. So you
Yeah,
can.
no problem. Yeah. So he did some remarkable thing, uh, and we see that this bank is back on track and really thriving, right? He has not created his brand saying that it is not important that people know who's the CEO of ICICI Bank. So he said that everybody has a one single boss, which is a purpose and the goals of the ICICI Bank. So he removed the titles of top 400 leaders in the bank. He said that we all should really be identified for their responsibilities and not SV, senior vice president, president, executive director, executive vice president. So he removed all the names and just their functional title, that what they are supposed to do or lead. Right. So maybe head of the consumer banking or head of the computer, consumer banking operations, technology. So basically, the titles were depicting what role they carry, but not the designation. He created common goals for all the people, all those leaders saying, okay, this is the company level goal, and all 400 of the top leaders are aligned to that goal. And even basically downwards also, I mean, this was told by another couple of ICICI Bank employees saying that they scrapped the appraisal. They didn't have, I mean, they were pitching me they were advising me on some mutual fund also. They said that, sir, rest assured that we don't have any mutual funds sales targets. So we're not motivated to sell something to meet our own target because all of that has been probably resolved. No appraisals, they have team goals, and everybody basically, the leaders guide, and everybody probably understands that how I align myself to the corporate goal. So I think from cohesive team perspective, once again, I would say common goal is very important. It is very important that people have interpersonal relationship. So it doesn't happen that if people are very dispassionate, there's no emotional connection with each other, the team does not really work like a team. Uh, and the mutual trust is extremely important. So one point in terms of fundamental of what is team, right? So there's a difference between group and team is what is said. So cohesive teams, group of people, maybe they are just put together, but there may not be an emotional bond. People would still probably, come 8 o'clock, go 5 o'clock, and do some tactical work. They're not bothered about what is the bigger role, who, other teammates, what they're doing. They don't make any effort. So those are just group of people. But from group of people to team, there is a 50, 60-year-old model of team which says that team evolves, right? You identify 10 people team, so team does not happen on day one. It goes through the evolution. It takes some time. It goes through basically 2, 3 stages, and then teams are formed. Those stages are, first stage is forming. So you form a team. The second stage, they call it storming, right? So saying that there's some storming happens in the sense that people have a lot of questions. They may have belief. They may probably, if the leader says this is a goal you're going to work towards, they might have 100 questions. They may have counter point of view. So there's a storming happens. Then after storming, the leader or even basically everybody participate, and they come to some norm saying that, okay, understood, this is the common goal, and these are the things basically all of us have to align to. And the last stage is performing. So forming, storming, performing, sorry, forming,
Forming.
storming, norming, performing. So these are the four stage it goes through, and the leader has to. I think it's a very critical job for leader to make sure that it is fine. He should not get frustrated if the teams don't behave like a team on a day one, but carefully navigate the team through these four phases and reach the performing stage. Once you are the performing stage, we have to constantly make sure that the communication plays extremely important role. And many times within team also, basically this leader of 10 people team may take the team to the performing level and do effective communication. uh, but the basically the thing doesn't end there. There are number of teams in the organization, and the interconnections of two teams. So my team, if we have some interface with other four teams, how do we make sure that those interconnections are also very well aligned to the broader objective of the organization? So those nuances also come to play. So first you put your team, your house in order, and then make sure that which are the 4, 5, 6 other teams where you need to collaborate effectively. If leaders succeed in establishing those interconnections also, then you have a high performing organization. Does that make sense, Shika?
Yeah, sir. Right. So, what I understand is it's all about shared goals, values, and open communication,
Yeah,
an environment of mutual trust and accountability, and the onus is on the leaders, right? So,
correct.
for the leaders, my next question is how can the leaders measure the effectiveness of the efforts that the
Yeah,
people put in the team, and how can they channelize all those efforts to a more cohesive team?
yeah. So so measurement is very clear that so leader's role is basically here are two extremes. So one extreme is chess master, where the chess master has complete control over each move. The other model is gardener. So gardener just create conditions for trees and plants to grow. Make sure that the plantation is done where sun is available, where water is properly given, soil has the fertilizer, etc. required. But then the growth happens by plant itself. So from leadership perspective, leader has to create that environment for team to success. So can you just repeat the question? I forgot some element of that.
So my question was, how can the leaders measure the effectiveness of the efforts that the members put in the team when it comes to, say, that this person is leading towards a cohesive team? So what is the factor that helps a leader to measure this effectiveness of a person?
Right. So first point was that leader has to make sure that we create the environment where team can succeed. Now, how do we know the team has succeeded or not? So it is very important to have the purpose very clear, right? And from the larger purpose of the organization, a team has to derive what should be our goal so that we contribute to the best extent possible to the organizational goal. So Al Qaeda had a very clear cut goal. And they had basically such a perfect coordination that it took the mightiest country in the world 10 years to trace him. So simply put, I would say the hard measure is the team goals, which are in alignment with the organization goal. Second thing is they may not be, yeah, so there may be some tactical indicator, but the most important thing is that the intangible or the soft things. So when leaders should be watchful that are we basically a cohesive team, right? Is there a information sharing happening or information, if information is not transparently made available, we can rest assured that there won't be that degree of collaboration and trust. So these, I think, intangible factors look observing, saying that the behavior of people, are they behaving like a part of the cohesive team or not? And second thing is the derived goal for the team. Uh, in interim, basically, are we really moving towards the goal we have set for our team?
Right, sir.
Yeah.
So, if I move on, we say people may have different perspectives. So, amidst these diverse voices and perspectives, how can the organizations ensure that all these are heard and taken into consideration?
Yeah. So basically, I think first thing is diversity and inclusion. So diversity of views, diversity of in terms of generation. So with a team may have 22-year-old working, team may have 42-year, 52-year-old people working the team. So first of all, the leader has to make sure that everybody gets a fair chance to be heard, right? And some see. So I would say in a very rare scenario, somebody is totally tangential or totally philosophically in disagreement. Those people may basically need to be watched closely. And if they don't align, we might have to probably let them go. But within those larger boundaries, I think first thing everybody has to be heard. And then I would say leaders should just take a facilitator role uh, and let team brainstorm to basically have those diverse view converge to something which is aligned to the goal. And also the leader should clearly remember that there are multiple ways to achieve the goal. The leader may himself or herself have a view said this is how it should be done, but I think leaders should basically exercise a restraint and allow other opinions to come. And there is very high likelihood that teams may come up with an approach which may be slightly different than what leader might have thought. And leader should resist that temptation to to basically force his or her point of view of how things should work and embrace what the team has come up with. So that team basically has the pride saying, okay, this is the approach we have drawn. There'll be greater buy-in and the chances of success are much higher. And of course, there may be something, I would say, there may be something which team might not have anticipated. Leader know that there could be the team may really go through some rough phase. It is still worth taking that risk and let team learn, right? rather than saying that, okay, don't go this way, you will get stuck somewhere. So I think those are the things uh, the leader has to be very careful. First is hear everybody, allow them to have the discussion, brainstorming, and try to converge. Some at some point in time, there may be course correction guidance required, but try to restrain and do wherever it is necessary, and let team come up with a coherent, I would say, a proposal of this is how we can go. And always, basically, there will be mid course correction, right? Because the condition, the goal itself may undergo change. So there's nothing permanent. So we have to navigate, but try to give that comfort, that trust to the team, saying that you can do it and you will do it. I am here. If anything goes wrong, it's my responsibility to take care. But go ahead.
Maybe just putting it in another words, we can, possibly try to create psychologically safe spaces, right?
Yes, yes.
Where the team members can speak freely. But so what
Yeah,
about the new hires? When
yeah,
there are new members into high functioning cross functional teams, so without disturbing the team dynamics, like you mentioned, forming, storming, norming, performing, adjourning, the 5 stages
yeah.
of group dynamics. So without disturbing this, how what are those best ways probably through which we can onboard the new members, the new hires in
Uh,
such
this is a
cross
this is
functional?
very good question, you asked. Thank you for asking the question. And that's why you see that the onboarding process for any company is extremely important. Uh, so when we say onboarding, we're just not talking about day one where the your bank account and all those paperwork really happens. So onboarding, I'm saying basically the initial 1 to 3 months time. So there is a conventional wisdom backed by the research that if the new employee feels good and settled down in first 23 days, there are very high chances that the person would not leave you. So, so I would say basically the very well structured induction program or onboarding program or assimilation, what we call it. So the person basically feels valued. The person gets a fair chance to understand how organization works, what are their goals, who are the key leaders, what are the priorities of my unit, my team, etc. So there has to be very well structured way to expose and immerse the new joiner into different aspects, and also encouraging that we may be doing 10 things right but 3 things wrong. So so we request you that you take the liberty of really observing thing. And I would love to basically the senior leader should say that, okay, I would love to probably connect with you after a fortnight or a month and see what your observations are, what we can do better. So these things, first of all, creates a huge level of trust. The person understand that there is a transparency, there's no hiding, people are very welcoming, they have clarity of thought, they have clarity of purpose, clarity of goal. However, there are few things we can do better. And if you listen to that and accept some new suggestions, you got basically a member who really comes with a commitment saying that, yes, I have joined the right place.
Yeah, that's why probably this concept of work buddy that we find nowadays, even
Yes,
UPS has this in its onboarding process, the work buddy
absolutely.
or the team mentor, that
Yeah,
it's finding place in the contemporary times. Fine, sir. So
absolutely.
the next question revolves around changing technology. So
Yeah.
how the technology, it plays a critical role in dismantling silos, and probably if we can just know about certain tools if they exist for better team integration.
Yeah. So I think basically one of the very important team enabler is transparency and information sharing. Traditionally, this is one potential poison for teams. So if information is hidden, I mean, rest assured, mutual trust will suffer, right? So so first thing is, I would say, using technology, making things transparent, making all kind of analytics transparently available, those dashboards, so people can go and understand what is our attrition, and forget about HR matrix. But in terms of the core team of the work, what are the customer requirements. So whatever work has been done, it should be transparently made available to the entire team, right? Second thing is Teams and Zooms. There should be some cadence where information flow continues. So those cadence will make sure that if something by any chance got missed out, that gets communicated, and you have the other way around communication also. If some people have a different point of view, you listen to them and basically resolve it right there and then. So from technology perspective, and broadly they are called collaboration tools, but in simple terms, that information sharing, transparency, and keeping people connected through a regular cadence of communication can really, technology can play a big role here. Because information sharing has become a lot easier than basically you have to send barrage of mails. Now you create a SharePoint or create a knowledge repository. Within Teams also you can have different folders. So technology has made the information sharing very, very transparent. Even I would say simple features like Copilot Teams, you have, basically an option of creating a transcript, creating a summary of the meeting, etc. So all those things, I think using those literary technologies, it is easier to share the information and keep taking feedback from the team very regularly.
But so what about the remote and hybrid work models, which are becoming very common nowadays? So
Yeah.
amid these remote and hybrid work models, how can such free flow of information, such transparent communication, what can the organizations do to maintain cohesiveness within such dispersed teams?
Yeah. So this is something basically I can speak from my experience, because we've gone through this journey of requesting people to come to office and work from office to at least to some extent. So we took a conservative approach of respecting people's need for flexibility, and from this 1st April, uh, sorry, 1st January, we said that now. So from 1st of January, we said that everybody, unless there's a special reason for which you can apply for exception, everybody is expected to work from office 12 days a month, right? Uh, and then we saw there's some basically shortcuts. People would come in the morning, swipe in, swipe out, come again in the evening, swipe in, swipe out, etc. All those things. So I would say, we have been constantly endeavoring to talk to people and say that this is not for compliance reason, right? This is to make sure that you get enough in-person time with the team to have those bondings. And because, co-located team working together, the amount of, I would say, the idea exchange, brainstorming can happen. I personally believe that cannot be replicated in this virtual meeting. So the whole idea of hybrid is that saying that, okay, we understand that basically during COVID time, this was a good discovery that people thought that certain to some extent there could be flexibility, and it has become now a very strong requirement, especially of females with young children. So they are leaving some companies just because they require flexibility and the company is not offering that. So such scenarios are okay, but in general, unless we have some in-person time together, that team bonding does not create. So our basically request and guidance to all the employees is that create that space where you get some time to spend together, so that those interpersonal relationships are built, belongingness is built, and you have commonality of purpose. Let's sink in. And then basically for 9 days, you can work from home. So the whole objective of hybrid is, and again, it depends largely on the leader of the team. So the leader of the team also believes it's a compliance, etc. Then God save. So team leader has to understand that this is a reason that our productivity could be better. We can be more innovative, especially knowledge jobs like IT. It depends on ideas. And if five people get together or basically they work as a team, the solutions would be far superior because different aspect of the solution is discussed, and you have basically much better chances of coming with a much more robust solution than some of the individual minds coming up with their own ideas.
So maybe there can be intentional offsites planned
Yeah,
or team summits, and probably the leaders, they should focus on, like you mentioned, outcome-based performance
yeah,
instead of
yeah,
the time or the presence, what the
yeah.
outcome actually is, that should be done, right?
Right.
So, what are the early warning signs if we say there is an employee who is misaligned, a person who is misaligned in the team? So what could be those early warning signs which can be a red flag to identify or watch out for?
So I would say that the leader has to create that canvas, saying that for the team, first for what is the outcome that team is supposed to deliver, and to deliver that outcome, what are the inputs that everybody need to understand. And if somebody is not, so you see a pattern that somebody is not really participating, it's not too difficult to basically judge. It's just that if leader believes in that dynamics and has a constant observation, so if she does that, it is basically not too difficult to identify that who is participating in understanding and chasing that team goal, or there are some individuals who are only confining themselves to the task that they have to perform on a day-to-day basis. Because most of the, so please understand that as AI becomes more and more more and more ingrained into our day-to-day work, the human job would be more and more thinking, right? Some tasks which can be clearly converted into a SOP, standard operating procedure, all those tasks will be done by AI. Only those tasks for which you can't create SOP will have to be done by human beings. So, so human intelligence or certain amount of critical thinking would be very integral part of the work to be done by human beings. So going forward, so something which does not require too much of collaboration may anyway get outsourced to the AI agents. So, if somebody is not applying thinking, they are not demonstrating their contribution to the full thought process, are the people who are maybe not actively part of the team, and they should be separately one is spoken to, coach. So the whole point is that to create the trust, it takes slightly longer, but when if you trust the team, so you just basically should jump to penalizing somebody. Have a conversation saying that why there's a disconnect, invest some time. Uh, Majority of time it should work because people understand that if they don't align, if they don't contribute, organization may not have too much of patience. So with that kind of stuff, I would say genuine effort in coaching people who apparently are not aligned to the goal and the approach would help people to fall in line. If somebody does not, after even going extra miles, maybe the person may not have the place in that team.
So can we say simply, we should watch out for changes in a person's tone, tempo,
Yeah,
or transparency, or if somebody is more inclined towards saying, that's not my job. So
yeah,
can we consider this as a flag for,
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
thank you,
So
sir.
the point is that results may take time, but the non-negotiable thing is that team is a religion. So that message should be very clear that we really, each one of us have to work as a team. That is non-negotiable. There would be some tough time, there would be challenges, but as a team we'll sail through. But there's no negotiation, there's no concession to not displaying a collaborative behavior.
Sir, so breaking silos means better collaborative,
Yeah,
cross-functional, interdepartmental teams. Now, what about conflicts?
yeah,
How to, how would you recommend resolving conflicts that arise from such interdepartmental collaborations?
yeah. So So that's very good. So I'll share one example, but the point is that there could be two approaches. The leader steps in saying that, okay, I will resolve it. Okay, you do this thing differently, you do this thing differently, instruction to both of them. But I don't prefer that. So how I deal with conflict is saying that I would understand, listen, both party understand, and if there is something which basically I should step in, I would. Otherwise, my message would be, if this, if especially is this conflict involves senior or mid-senior people, uh, I would say that you have to resolve yourself. You can't behave like kids and come to the father or come to the teacher saying that, okay, this guy's not listening. So I say that at your level, you are supposed to solve the conflict. Uh, so I think that Socrates' way of coaching, where you at a high level basically give some guidelines, but encourage them to resolve conflict themselves. Otherwise, if you do it one time, you're not helping the team to create that kind of culture. It will once again leave. But if you basically push them directly to and encourage them to resolve them conflict themselves, then you will see that the team goes to the next level of collaboration.
Right, sir. So maybe it's rightly said that conflict isn't the enemy. Instead, unaddressed conflicts is a bigger enemy, right?
Yeah.
So, sir, now I would like to take up questions from our learners that we have got in the chat box. So, I would just take up the first question, a very interesting one somebody had mentioned. Just a second, it's taking time for me.
I think the first
Yes.
question was, you mentioned a book after 9/11. There was a book which has been created, and many students have put up that question. What was the
Yeah.
name of that book?
Sorry, what is the name?
Name of that book you
Name
suggested
of the
everybody
book.
should
That's
read that
Team
book.
of Teams. Team of Teams.
Okay.
So this is written by one of the army general.
Okay.
All right.
So
So,
the whole idea is that basically the word silo, I like the basically the whole title itself starts from silo. So the team of teams, the idea is that basically the organization is consisting of teams, and the teams also have to be interconnected and work as a larger team. I give two examples. So one example is of Operation Theater, right? So when a surgery is done, everybody, so there are nurses, there is different surgeons, there are 6 7 experts, and sometimes even experts join telephonically also nowadays. But everybody is bound by a sacrosanct purpose that they have to cure the patient, and very quickly they align to make sure how they perform as one team, and then operation done, team dismantled. The other example is when somebody comes with the idea of making a film, right? So there are, so the story and the larger vision of the director, that what kind of stories to be created. As per that purpose, a team is formed. So there are so many talented singer, but what's the mood of the movie, etc. So who is the best lyrics for this purpose, for this team, for this film? So you assemble the team, make the film, team dismantle. So these somehow I found very encouraging, very positive examples of how you create team for a purpose, right? And the filmmaking teams, they're very agile teams, right? So they're not rigid. So everybody is driven by the purpose of what this movie is all about, what this character is all about. So they themselves makes a lot of creative contribution, inspired by the overall purpose of what story we are trying to tell to the audience.
right, sir. So another one is, what are the challenges that mid-level management staffs or team lead with limited resource might face?
Yeah. So the other paradigm is basically value. So in Mahindra, so I think we are blessed with a leader who's one of the most respected corporate leaders in the country, at least, Anand Mahindra. So so he has articulated three what we call Rise tenets. So Rise is basically part of the mother brand. So Mahindra, and the top of it in italic Rise, if you have noticed, if you do Google, that's part of our Mahindra group logo. So there are three things very simply they articulated. The first thing is creating more equal world. So say that it is not just important to focus on profit and but every business in the group, we are moving to the more equal world. So there are the economic disparities, the gender disparities, all kind of there is this threat. So each company should see how we can contribute to creating better world. The second tenet is create value, and third is be future ready. So create value. So these three pillars basically, to me at least, they are very, very powerful source guiding me. So creating value is a very important one. So basically, this is another very important guideline that in our when you work as a team, it is important that okay, purpose is very important. So what value we are creating for our internal stakeholder, external stakeholder, for whomever basically we have a goal to set. So whether we are creating value or we are doing things because there is a precedence of doing things, this is what is required. So I think we always ask these questions, and I tell my HR team also, saying that you may work very hard, you may have 100 connects done in a month. Today, okay, there's a connect with the freshers. Today is a connect of really high performers. But if you don't know what value you're creating by those connects, all your activities may not really result into something meaningful. So having a lens of what value we are creating is extremely important today's time uh, for every employee.
Next, I would like to take up Muthu's questions. Before this, I believe we've already covered in our discussion so far. So Muthu Kumar asks, how shall the leader move with the team? I have seen leaders behaving like strict teachers. So handling the team in is the ideal role of the leader that way.
Yeah. So as I said, that basically leader has to play a role of then the chess master. So gardener means you create the condition of success. Command and control may work where task is extremely defined and can be it's very repetitive task, so it can command control can still work. However, in the AI enabled world, all such things will anyway go to the AI agents. So leader has to make sure that they create a space for everybody's input, right? Because the task to be done by human beings would require human genuinity. So be inclusive, make sure that that we don't go completely off track. But as long as we are on track, uh, let everybody contribute uh, of of their perspective of how the team goal can be achieved. So command and control in a very very few areas it may work where the tasks are very very clearly defined. Somebody has to just do it. But wherever creativity required, which would be a much increasing space with the application of AI, there you have to create a space for people creativity and their diverse thoughts.
Right. So the next question comes from Ashish. He asks, I'm giving full effort in my work, but not recognized by the team. Maybe a problem for a lot of us. So what way shall I improve? He asked
Yeah.
this.
So so that's why I mean the point is working hard, not getting recognition. There could be multiple ways. But so the first thing, the introspection should be how I'm creating value. I again probably let me take example of my own team, right? So there may be somebody who's very, very diligent, who's doing all the operations work. Anybody who writes a mail, it is responded to. Uh, and let's say, let me take example basically. Yeah. So somebody asked for yeah. So somebody say, okay, I forgot filling timesheet, so my salary for that they got deducted. And it may, let's say, for a HR business partner of a unit, it happened 10 times in a month. If he's diligently probably resolving each of those things, going back to different teams to get this error corrected, that is an example of a hard-working HR business partner. I would say an ideal HR business partner would be saying there's a pattern. Why in a month 10 instances happen? Try to understand what is the cause, what is the root cause, and fix that. So the point is, this HR business partner have understood that I have to create value of minimizing transaction, getting things right the first time. So if he's aware of the value he is creating, he will not have problem. But despite doing the right things, creating value and having all of this, then basically the person should request a reporting manager saying that can we block half an hour time. I want to seek some guidance from you and say that this is my sense. However, maybe I think I'm not doing something or I'm not doing something right. I need your guidance. So it's very important to have those collaborations. So first is your own introspection, saying that am I creating value or I'm just doing tasks? And second thing is seek the guidance. It's still you think that I'm creating this value, then the best thing is to get into discussion with RM.
Right. Thank you, sir, for this. Next, we would like to take up Deepak's question. He asks, how can we maintain a balance between individual accountability and team collaboration in a unified
Yeah,
team structure?
yeah,
That's something very untouched till now.
yeah. So basically, see, team objective, how team objective can be really achieved is that uh, let me take example of let me take example of Tech Mahindra growth that we spoke about. So growth, right? So we say that if we have to grow by 6%, there is a very clear-cut plan saying that, okay, in our order book as of today, we have, let's say we are $6.2 billion company. And we say that we have basically order book of 5 billion already. Now remaining 1.2, where it is going to come from? Then you go analyze the account, saying this account, there is a risk of getting dropped because the customer is trying to consolidate vendors. And then you realize basically, okay, there are some accounts, each account they see how much is the potential of this further growing. So the organization goal of 6% growth is cascaded at each account level, saying this account can grow, this account may degrow, so therefore I would have to look for another customer. So that's how it translates to, let's say, some sales team, and within sales team also say that, okay, Mr. X, you are the account manager for this account, and we need 10% growth in this account to basically add up to the 6.2 plus 6% target at the org level. So there's a clear cut, I would say, drill down on the goals, uh, nailed to the at least to a leadership level, and then leaders of say that basically if all of us make sure that these critical deliverables, these critical releases which are lined up for 1st of September, we have to closely watch that we are on time and we have a successful release on 1st September without a defect. So I would say leaders need to make sure that they give a clear sense of goal and purpose at the team level and within team, each teammate level.
So next, probably we can merge Ashutosh and Kanika's question. It's on how personality traits affect how people collaborate and how to tackle somebody who's very dominating by nature when working in a team.
Yeah. So good, very good question. Yes, there is diversity in the team. There are people of different. So certain thing the leader has to say that working as one team collaboration is non-negotiable. If somebody is dominating, ideally all such feedback should be given one-on-one. So in the team, I mean, you let this person probably uh, dominate that meeting or that call, but then you probably have one-on-one discussion saying that this behavior is detrimental to the team, right? So I'm absolutely fine that you have a different point of view. That's perfectly fine. But the way you put up, this can take a toll on the team spirit, which is non-negotiable. So I guess so human beings. I mean, there could be basically different behaviors which sometimes you may not be able to anticipate. Those things come, and that's the job of leader to make sure that such disruptions are handled. Saying that this is within boundary acceptable, no problem, but this is out of boundary. Uh, Anybody part of the team cannot cross those lines. That your aggression at that cost, we can't probably upset five other people. We have to work as a team. One-on-one feedback.
Thank you, sir. So the next question is, what if the employees misuse the conditions created by the leader and they try to overpower the leader instead? What to do
Yeah.
in such a scenario?
So there is a lot of talk of servant manager, uh, a servant leadership style. So, so again, the same thing. Basically, one of the most important leaders' job is that saying that our actual boss is purpose. I am implementing. So I am also aligned to the same purpose. That so boss is not me. Boss is the purpose, including me. Everybody has to align to that. And if anything which damages that, we will have to basically be careful and be open to make the changes in approach. But the purpose is the ultimate boss. Everybody has to be aligned with that.
So one last question.
Yeah.
This is from Parmanand. So he says, how one manager or leader can make significant contribution to boosting the confidence and risk-taking capacity of the team members. But at the same time, there are chances of being over. So how to deal with such issues?
Would you mind just repeating the question? Was distraction?
Question is, how one manager or a leader can make significant contribution to boost the confidence and risk-taking capacity of the team members, but at the same time there may be chances of being overconfident, so that the team members, instead of gaining confidence, they become overconfident and they start spreading miscommunication or within the team. So how to deal with such a situation?
So basically, I would say, uh, let's say we plan an event saying that all of us need to assemble tomorrow at 9 a.m. at Golconda Resort. How this goal can be accomplished? So everybody knows the destination of the goal, right? Everybody has a map. So everybody knows saying that where they stand today, from that place to the destination, everybody knows the path. So, so anybody probably deviates the path, they have to check, okay, what was the path provided to me. If I don't follow, it will take extra time, etc. But this is how we need to be. So the point is that this whole goal setting and measuring, are we on track, etc., is a continuous thing. So some team may do it once in a week, some may do more frequently, some may do probably less frequently, fortnightly. So the idea is that basically there has to be a constant monitoring, constant checking whether are we on track. That's how we use Google Map, right? So you follow street by street, saying that did I miss that turn or did I take the turn, etc. So the simple answer is that team, if we basically frequently meet and make sure that there's a plan, and are we probably working as a plan or there's some delay, mid course correction. So all those, I would say, cadence will help us to understand that have some of us become overconfident, that going on the different track altogether. So that mid course correction is required.
So
Because the in the dynamic world, it is not possible that you make a plan for next 6 months and that plan remains true. It will get changed at least 20-25 times. So as long as you build in a mechanism to see periodically check whether we are on course or not, uh, there would be new learnings, there would be such corrections required. But if we have a regular way of checking that, it will be taken care of.
Thank you, sir, for this taking up this question. So rest all, I believe we've already covered in our discussion so far. So with this, we come to the end of this session. UpNext series on breaking silos and crafting cohesive winning team. So before we close, I would really like to thank our speaker for the day, Mr. Vinay Agarwal, for his valuable insight, examples, and the practical knowledge that he shared on how organizations can foster collaboration, trust, and unity across departments. Your words will definitely enlighten us and will go a long way in shaping stronger, more integrated teams in our respective workplaces. I would also like to thank the entire organizing team from the start of planning towards this execution phase. So thank you to the organizing team. Thank you, Reena ma'am. Thank you to our enthusiastic listeners who joined us in such great number. And once again, a big thanks to our director, Ms. Preeti Divan Mehta, for continued curiosity and immense value that she puts in the program for us to learn and explore. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so
Thanks
much.
for having me here. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Mr. Agarwal. It was really lovely having you. Though there's still a lot of questions which unfortunately we cannot take all of them. But yeah, we can compile some of them and we
Yeah,
may send it to you and you may give us the answer and we can share it back with the students.
sure. We can do that.
Right. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.